What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Good Success Podcast. I'm your host, Josh Culler, and today we got a good friend of ours, John Morey. What's going on, John?
What's up?
Hi there. I'm alive. I'm here.
You're alive? Yeah, we all know you're alive, John. So, man, if you guys are friends with this guy on Facebook, I mean, he is always posting some awesome stuff, and seriously, one of the most lighthearted, energetic, motivated people, hardworking person that you will ever meet. So John actually came to us by our Good Success Mastermind. He came to our August event of last year, and we're going to get him to come back at some point. He keeps telling me he'll do it, but at some point he's going to come back. So
I'm coming back in July. I'm going to be there in July.
Yeah, so he's going to come to our Community Go-Giver event, which I'll talk about in just a second.
But Josh, I think you just called him crazy. I mean,
he is crazy.
It was kind of like a nice words that you used.
He is crazy.
It was crazy.
Sounds crazy.
Well, I am a little insane. So
crazy as crazy does.
We're only like a couple minutes in the live stream, and you guys, you're gonna. We have plenty of time to show how crazy John is. So we got plenty of time. So if you guys are watching live on Facebook right now, we appreciate you doing that. Make sure you give us a lot of thumbs up, share this around, and leave comments below. Everything that's going to be talked about in the actual live stream here is going to be linked below. We got Kevin on that right now. So he's going to be linking that stuff below. And when we talk to John and figure out like his websites and contact info, we're going to link it all below. So I'm actually going to be looking this way. Right now we're figuring out our setup for our new studio, and it's not totally built out yet, but we're getting there. So I know that's this is like the third setup we've had.
We're in the studio.
In the studio. We're in the studio.
At least we're in the studio.
Correct. Yeah. So that's what matters most. But I'm going to be looking at John this way because he's over here on my laptop, and Tom's going to be looking that way. So we're not trying to look at you guys. But so before we get into it, before I fully introduce John, we're going to talk about a few things. So the May Mastermind's coming up. Oh my goodness, it's what?
3 weeks away.
Like a couple weeks away, and we're so excited about it. This is going to be the best event that we have so far. It is happening in Chicago, right in our backyard. We don't have it in Chicago the first and fourth quarter because nobody wants to be in this neck of the woods in the first and fourth quarter. So, but Chicago in the second and third quarter is not so bad. It's pretty nice. So
come in early, see a Cubs game.
Absolutely. There's tons of stuff to do here, guys, when it's a little bit warmer, especially during the spring. So May 9 through 11, we're going to have it linked below, goodsuccess.com/mastermind. It is not too late to sign up, guys. It's seriously not too late. So make sure you go check it out. We do have you fill out an application and make sure we vet not just your numbers. So we do bring an elite group of real estate investors into the room, and these guys are elite investors. But we also vet who you are, your character, what type of person you are. Are you a giver, and all that stuff. So fill out an application, and then we will have Jared follow up with you on that. So the next thing, which I'm going to have Tom talk about a little bit more, but John just said that he has signed up for the Community Go-Giver event, so we're going to be seeing him in July. So we're super excited about that. But the Community Go-Giver event, if you guys have been watching our live streams, or if you're new to the podcast, or if you've been listening to the podcast or whatever, you know we've been talking about this a lot. It's happening July 25, 26, and 27 in our office. So you're going to get to see the studio and everything, but the whole operation for Good Success, and then Olsen Group as well. But we're going to have a heavy hitter lineup. John, are you excited about the lineup? The speaking lineup? It's pretty good, right?
You guys always have the best. Always the best. I love it.
So we got Walter Wofford, Jim Ingersoll, Mr. Landlord, Jeffrey Taylor, Gary Harper is going to be there, Eddie Wilson, Josh Belk, Ken Lacey, Sean Waddle. It's a pretty heavy hitter lineup, guys. We're not messing around. So we're super excited about it. Only 80 seats that we are selling out at, and we have already sold several. We're getting to the point where we're going to have to start cutting this off to you guys and make sure we're sending it off to our list. So guys, sign up, communitygogiver.com. We'll have it linked below. Tom, let's talk about it a little bit more. What do you got?
Well, the most important thing is that I'm speaking. So,
Tom's speaking too. I always leave him on the list.
Get that. That should be enough right there. I mean, Walter, he's good. Jeffrey Taylor, he's good.
Jim's all right.
Jim, he's great. But I'm speaking, just so you guys know. So I'm actually going to be talking about my vision for flipping the entire city of Gary, Indiana. And I'm super excited about that. I actually met a couple people last week. And there is a gigantic development starting on the lake within the next couple months where they're going to completely revitalize the entire lakefront, put a huge resorts coming in, and then they're going to revitalize the entire main portion of Miller. all the way through Aetna. So I am super excited about what's already happening, and these things have been in the works for the last couple of years. Also talked to another guy who is really trying to help prison. He has a prison reentry program. So it's really all about the communities that we serve and what we do and how it affects those communities. And that's really what this whole Community Go Giver event is about for me. So day one, we're going to talk about is how does a fix and flip affect your community? Day two, we're going to talk about how does a turnkey or how does a rental, being a landlord, affect your community, and who's the community that you're actually serving, and how to lead that. The Mr. Landlord does a great job of helping you learn how you can lead your tenants and to be a great landlord. Day three, we're going to talk about low-income housing and how to create trusts and how to invest tax-free in low-income housing, and how to be able to help people that would typically rent their whole life and help them make them into homeowners. And so all those things affect their communities in different ways, and we're going to talk about how we do it and how you can do it in your own sense. Every single day also is going to have a Community Go Giver time or slot. Day one, I'm going to talk about my vision for the city of Gary. Day two, we've got Eddie Wilson talking about his missions-minded nonprofit that he runs called CMI, and I'm super excited to hear about that. And day three, we're going to have Ken Lacey talk about his vision and how he helps deserving veterans get into housing. So like I said, I'm super excited about it. This is our first event. I have had at least 4 people this morning confirm via text that they will be coming, and them and their spouse. And just so you guys know, if you guys are seeing this, like I just had 4 other people this morning ask me, how do I find private lenders? I'm like, come to this event. Like I got 3 or 4 already confirmed of my personal private lenders that are going to be in this room. You have to get out there and you have to connect with people. You have to let them trust you and see who you are in order for that kind of thing to happen. So whether you're coming and you're just trying to learn, whether you're looking for lenders, whether you're a lender looking for deals or a place that you might want to invest in, I think this would be a great opportunity for you to see our area. Or if you're trying to help other communities and see how I can get involved in helping other communities, I think this would be a great event for all of you guys. And we're going to give every single person a chance to come up in front of the room. You got 1 minute, and you can just say, this is why I'm here. So John Morey, you're going to get to say, hey, I am here because I just love Tom Olson so much, and I just can't wait to be with him.
Right, get more Tom.
I actually love Josh, not Tom.
Okay, all right. This is going downhill. I thought this was going to be a great meeting, but I don't know.
You set yourself up for that.
If you said Kevin, I would believe you. But since you said Josh, I don't know.
Well, and remember, I dance with everybody. So
that's what the Community Go Giver event is all about. We're super excited about it. This is going to turn into a lot larger event. I can already feel it happening. So we already have 2019 plans starting. And if you guys don't get in on this, it will be too late. I promise you. We already have, I think, 17 or something like that people already signed up. And at no less than at least 30 or 40 other people have already promised me. And you know how it always goes. People want to wait till the last minute. For this particular event, it may not be an option.
Yep. So communitygogiver.com. We will have it linked below, and you guys can find out more about that and see the speaking lineup and how you guys can get involved in that. So very excited about that. Make sure you check it out. So let's go ahead and get into this then. So if you guys are on Facebook right now, live streaming this, again, we appreciate you being on. Make sure you're giving the likes and then leaving comments below. If you are coming from John's network and you guys don't know who we are, thank you and welcome to the show. We are actually on podcast 102. We hit 100 a couple weeks ago, which is just a huge milestone for us. And we absolutely love the podcast and love all the guests that we've had on board here. And John is just absolutely fantastic. Like, he's going to be a perfect fit for this podcast because he's definitely what we would define as, a good success person and a good success community in our community. We come across John very often in our network. So his network is our network and our network is his network, that kind of thing. So we're all looped in, all friends and everything. But so John, let's go ahead and get into it a little bit. Give us a brief introduction of who you are, what you do, how long you've been doing it, and a little bit of a background of how you actually got into real estate and your story with that.
Okay, sounds good. Well, back in the day, I was in the corporate world. Worked as an engineer for quite a long time. Worked in the aircraft industry as an avionics engineer. And I've always liked real estate. Dabbled in it here and there, but never found anything that really got me to go do it. My why was not strong at all. Well, one day, my boss decided that he didn't need me anymore. So that's how I actually got pushed into the real estate. Remember you guys talk about traction, I read the book Traction. Well, as I look back then, I was not a fit for that group. So I was the right person, but for the wrong seat. So, and they figured that out too. So they decided just to let me go. Well, that was the turning point right there. I got pushed into it. So my back was to the wall. And so I had to look deep. Okay, now my back is to the wall. What's my why? And you guys already know that my kids and my wife, that's my strong why right there. Failure is not an option for me. So, it was great. Ever since then, I just keep plugging away, working hard. And actually, I remember this when that happened to me. The first two people that I called was my wife. Of course, my wife was crying, boo hoo hoo. Of course, that's understandable. Then I called Jim Ingersoll. Jim Ingersoll was the one that the first thing that came out of his mouth was, man, that's the best thing that's ever happened to you. And you know what? He's right. He's really right. Sometimes when things like that happen to you, you feel like, oh my God, the earth is just going to crumble and your world is gone, right? That's not true. You have to look beyond that. And people like Jim, such great motivators, he's a great encourager. Say, John, you know what to do. And that's exactly right. I knew what to do. That day, I made 5 offers that day at lunchtime. I made 5 offers. Didn't get any of them, but I made offers.
You made the offers. That's what's important.
I made offers. You have to make offers. If you don't make offers, you're not going to make anything, right?
Yeah.
That's the name of the game. So I just kept plugging along. So here I am today. I'm enjoying it.
That's awesome. So how did you know Jim at that point? You said that you were the first person, or he was the first person that you called. How did you know him at that point?
Yeah, before I got fired in May. So it was in February of that same year of 2016. I went to see his boot camp. That's how I met Jim, and we connected because he's also an engineer, and our stories are actually very, very similar. He also got laid off. But he was a plant manager, I think 2 plants, over 300 people that he had to lay off. Well, an engineer to an engineer, and we connected, and our stories are very similar. Our backs were to the wall. So guess what? We connected that way, and the man is just so loving. He's awesome.
Absolutely. And you're actually not the first person that's been on this podcast with that story either. I mean, we had, I think of Jeff Johnson a few weeks ago that we had him on the podcast, and he has the exact same story. He was an engineer and got laid off and got into real estate. He was dabbling in it. It seems like real estate is a savior for a lot of people in a good way, honestly.
Yeah, it is.
Sweet. Very fantastic.
Jim's a great friend of mine. He does have a great boot camp. So if you guys do want to check that out, I would highly encourage that.
Yeah.
And he's just a great, genuine guy as well. I mean, we're going to have him speak at our event, and that's pretty much why, because we believe in him and we believe that he has a good heart to help people. So
yeah, he's definitely a community go-giver. He's a perfect fit for speaking at that event. So absolutely. All right, sweet. So my next question is kind of, I don't know, maybe that was the answer to my question is, who is the most influential person that has been in your life, maybe it is personal or business, that you have talked to and has gotten you kind of with your wheels up off the ground?
Yeah, well, it's not really an easy answer. It really isn't, because there's no one major one. There's actually 4 people that I'm going to mention that really have a very positive impact. One of them is sitting right there. Hopefully the head won't get too big. Okay. First person I'm going to mention is Jim Ingersoll. As you guys already know, it's Jim Ingersoll.
It's Josh, right? It's Josh.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Josh, number 5.
Oh, number 5. I'll take it.
Number 5.
I made the list.
Yeah, he's on the list. So Jim Ingersoll, because of that, he's a phone call away. He told me, John, anytime you need me, call. Well, even though I have his number, I have Tom's number, I have a lot of these good people's numbers, I don't abuse that. It's not a good thing to do that. We're all friends, but it's not for me to abuse. So Jim is one. And then, of course, Walter Walford. of all the quiet people that are out there, Walter is fantastic. He has guided me in a lot of things. I've imitated his system in some fashion, making a little twist the way I want to make it, suited for me. So my business has taken off because of that. Then, of course, that man over there, Mr. Tom Olson, that man right there, he believed in little Johnny. He said, I like this guy. Let me look at that deal. Boy, and he saw that I knew what I was doing. I know my numbers, and I don't mess around. When I tell him you're going to get it, I give it to him. So I've proven that time and time again. And this guy gave me that opportunity. Then the other one is Forrest Bryant. I know he's not here right now, but he lives here in Huntsville.
We got him on a podcast in a couple weeks. So, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So Forrest believes in me, too. He trusts me. He says, John, I know that you're going to do your due diligence when you bring me something. And I do. I just don't say, here it is. I'm going to dig until we see that the deal is definitely a good deal. Then he'll say, let's go do it. So those are the people that I have a big influence on me, and I really, really appreciate all of them.
Awesome. Fantastic. So going kind of a little bit deeper into actually what you're doing currently. So when I opened the podcast and introduced you, one of the things I said was one of the hardest workers that you'll ever meet. And I strongly believe that. I mean, you just talk to this guy for 2 or 3 minutes, you automatically know that he's just absolutely a hard worker. So this is kind of a topic that's a little rigid, right? Like you don't typically think about it when we're on a podcast talking about real estate, but I kind of wanted to address this. So what is your fuel for working hard, and kind of explain the importance of a hard work ethic when it comes to building a real estate investing business? I mean, Tom is definitely a hard worker, and you guys see that all the time with how much, he's on social media and all this stuff. He's not just talking about it, he's a practitioner of it. And John is no short of that either as well. But kind of explain what the importance of a good work ethic is and how it's helped you along with your growth.
Well, the thing is, lazy doesn't bring you anything. That's my philosophy. If you're lazy, nothing's going to come to you, period. It's really that simple. So I work hard. I'm a one-man show at the meantime, but I read, like I said, the traction. I've got systems in place now that now I just need the people. Put the people in place so that now I can step back, but still work hard on bringing the deals in. I work the ground. I'm a ground person, so I'm always hitting the pavement. I'm running around. I do door knocking every now and then, but I do a lot of boots on the ground stuff to where I find properties that are vacant. I do my research on that, and I send them out the letters and everything, and majority of my leads are coming from that. And then also I'll meet with other investors, see what they have. We go back and forth. We help each other out. We throw deals at each other. So there's no shortage here, and I'm not just always sitting at my computer. That doesn't help me one bit. I have to hit the ground. So I'm talking to wholesalers. I'm talking to other investors that have other properties. I'm talking to sellers that are out there, both with MLS and non-MLS people. I'm just constantly working, and I'm updating what I'm doing all the time. During the day, I'm out running around. At night, I'm with my family. Then after that, I work on my system.
So what's your motivating factor for actually working that hard though? I mean, you're talking about stuff that a lot of people that are listening to this podcast don't actually do. They're not boots on the ground like you are, a one-man operation. Some people that listen might be a one-man operation, but they probably have, people set in place that are maybe it's virtual assistants or whatever it is that actually do this, or bird dogs. What motivates you to actually work that hard and move that fast and grow?
My 2 little ones and my wife. They have mouths. They're hungry. So yeah. I have to feed them. I have to put clothes on them. And really, honestly, ever since I've been doing this, our lifestyle has not changed. We actually watch our costs. So our cost is down, but our lifestyle has not changed. Why? It's because I don't want that to change for them. Mm-hmm. Actually, I want to improve that. So I'm not doing this for me, really. Eventually, I am going to die. We all are, but I'm going to leave them with a wonderful legacy, put systems in place for them. So they're my driving force. So any of you out there that want to get into this business, you can't do this halfway. You have to go all in, both feet, and say, I'm going to go do this, and start really educating yourself on how to make this work and network. Those two things, educating yourself and network, it will take you way up there. Awesome.
Yeah, I think that's really important. And you actually kind of started this segment with, like, I don't want to be lazy. And a lot of times I think we avoid that word lazy. And I'm not sure why we do in this society, in this day and age, but we really do. And one of the laziest things we can do is up here. You know, we can get out and we can work, and that's fine and dandy, but a lot of us are really lazy up here. And when you think about what holds most people back, it's not necessarily that they're not hard workers or they don't think that they're not hard workers. It's the fact that they're lazy up here and they're lazy in their head. And I think one of the laziest things you can do is let fear motivate you and let fear, you know, keep you from doing what it is that you know you could do and what you know you should be doing. So I think what you're saying is, like, your family motivates you because it's the belief that you're going to take care of them that's motivating you and keeping you driving all the time, every single day. And I think that that's something that's super important. Whatever it is that you think God put you on this earth to do, you should be doing it, and you should be believing and hoping every single day that it's going to happen. You should be looking for it to happen. And that hope and that faith should bring you to that destination. And that's, you know, what we talk about is good success, is like that destination, that doing the right thing every single day and going after those goals and not letting the fear, not letting that like stop you. Because that really like we end up being very lazy in our mind, very lazy in what we're doing. So
I agree with that. Well, I just want to add a little bit to that, is that, you know, just like you, Tom, you know my faith, and I believe in God, and I trust God more than anything else. So what I do is I just go. I say, I'm going to go do this. Scared or not, I say, I'm going to go do this because I know God's got my back. And I know that when the time is right, not when I want it, when he says, oh, now, John, you need for me to touch you. So he'll touch me. And then before you know it, there you go. It happens just like that. Sometimes it's, you know, it just amazes me all the time how things happen for me. You know, yes, I'm putting my foundation in and I'm working hard, because even in the Bible says, you know, if you work hard and everything, God will bless you accordingly. So I just keep going. And before you know it, he says, okay, now it's time, and it works. And in
addition to that, I actually have a really strong stance on this, because I've come across so many people that say, you know, God will take care of me and my needs. And then I ask them, well, what are you doing to at least like earn that from him? And the answer is nothing. Like, I don't know how many people I've talked to that are like that. And people just expect to do nothing and have God take care of them. But that's the total opposite of the truth. Like, you have to earn it, right? That's what I strongly believe, because people that are blessed by God, but because they're hard workers, because they're actually taking action on doing something. So like, I think being lazy is not gonna, like, even if you are a believer, like being lazy, you're not gonna be blessed by God. Like, he doesn't bless laziness, and he's actually like 100% against it. You read, you know, there's several verses that explain that in the Bible, but like, I strongly believe that. So I think that, you know, God taking care of you, but then also working hard to get that care from him. Like, he's always going to take care of us. But at the end of the day, to be ultimately blessed by God, you know, I feel like, you know, you have to work hard. You have to put in the effort to make that happen. So
and that action is what shows or proves that you actually believe in what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And I think other people get that too, and they also jump on board and try to help you with that action that you're taking. So if you just talk about it and don't take any action, then nobody's really going to jump on board. And that's what John, I think, is really good at. He just taking action and proving to people that, hey, I actually believe in what I'm saying.
Totally. John, how many hours a day do you work, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, okay, you know, that's a kind of tricky question, because sometimes I just say, you know what, I'm just going to drive around and just look at some property, and I'm just having a good time. I'm just driving around, you know. But sometimes, boy, I'm making 5, 6, 7, 10, 20 offers sitting at my desk. So in reality, I would say maybe I work maybe 5 or 6 hours a day, you know, not continuously, you know, intermittently, because sometimes I'll have a meeting like with the head of the community development person, you know, in Decatur. So I'll have a meeting with those guys. So I'm out meeting also the powers that be, but I'm not always working in the business per se. So really about 5 or 6 hours, I think.
Okay, gotcha. So that's, I mean, I think
That's all working though.
that's all working. Yeah,
I think you're working a lot more than that.
I think so.
You're just not.
Yeah, I just maybe don't. You know what? You know, you guys know
Not
this.
counting it all work.
He's like, I love what I do, so it's not work.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, when you love what you do, it's not work.
Can we ask your wife that question? We
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
need to ask the wife.
Oh boy! Oh no!
Does
No.
she see this?
Yeah,
Is she on
I
it?
I'll make sure that she sees this because I think she may have a different story.
She will. She'll say, "Oh, he works all the time."
Exactly. Yeah. So John,
Yeah.
somebody that is like, okay, somebody that was in the position that you were at when you first got into real estate. So you were dabbling in it, right? Like you had gone to Jim's boot camp and you were dabbling in it, and then you got laid off, and then you're like, okay, this is the push for me to actually go full time into real estate. Somebody that is not at the position yet where they have been pushed off that ledge, right? So they're maybe dabbling in real estate, but they're full time. We were at a Think Realty conference a couple of weeks ago. I don't know how many people we talked to that said, when we asked them, what do you guys do in real estate? They said, well, I wholesale or I buy and hold. And then I asked them how long they've been doing it, how many deals they're doing. And they're like, I've done a couple, one or two offs. And I say, well, do you want to develop this into a full business? Do you want to go full time in it? And they said, well, I don't know. I've been dabbling in it for a year or so, and I'm not sure. That's why I'm here, which totally makes sense. Like, that's why they're there at the Think Realty conference, because they're wanting to learn more. But somebody that is like full time with a job, but they're dabbling in real estate, and they kind of don't know in their mind what exactly they want to do. So they don't know if they want to go full time in real estate or just keep it as a hobby. What would you tell somebody like that that's not at the full point that you are at, where you actually got let go by the job, but somebody that's in that realm right there?
People that want to get into this, they have a strong why. That's very important. A strong why, network, and educate yourself. So those things are very important. Those are, you have to have those. Then start either doing bird dogging, or you can go ahead and do wholesaling. But you still have to understand what wholesaling is all about. You have to understand the dynamic that goes into that, because there's money involved. So you need to know how to partition that money and who gets the biggest pie, because you're wholesaling. So to me, that's the best way. Starting at rehab is not always the best, because that is cash extensive, and if you don't have even the people with the experience, they still get burnt, and they get burnt bad. So, but when you start as a bird dog or wholesaler, your risk is low, but you learn a lot.
Awesome. So explain to me, because you said network a few times, and we hit this really hard on the podcast with any of our guests that we bring on. Every guest that we bring on, at some point, they actually mention networking and having a strong network and that kind of thing. So with you, I know that you're not new to real estate, but you are newer than like, say, Tom or somebody. But when it comes to building a strong network, like, what is it? First of all, what's the importance of it? Why is it so important to build a strong network? And then second of all, how do you go about doing it? Because for me, like I said at the beginning, the first time I met John, like, it's instantaneous. Like, you automatically connect with him, and he's just such an easy person to talk with and just be around, because he's a fun guy. Like, he really is. And it's not just because he like offers to teach you salsa. That's one reason.
That's number one reason.
So if you guys know John, he's the salsa king where he's from. So we're not gonna get into that at all. So
don't get me started.
Yeah, we're not gonna get you started. we'll save that for when people meet you at the community go-giver event. We'll have a network.
There you go. That's it.
So, but that kind of proves the point. Like, he's just such an easy person to get along with. So I understand, like, from people that meet him, like, they automatically connect with him well. But like, why is it important to build a strong network? And then, like, how do you go about doing it? And like, I don't maybe coming out of your comfort zone, if you would tell somebody that is like, I don't like talking to people, I'm kind of an introvert and that kind of thing. So what would you say to somebody like that?
Okay, the biggest thing, the reason why networking is so important is because that's how you find deals. That's also how you find the money. So when people say, man, I don't know where to find the money. Well, if you're sitting at home, you're not going to find the money. You have to go where the money is, right? So you have to hang out with people that, because you never know who's going to have the money. I always say this in my group, I have an investor mixer. I always tell people, you never know who's going to take you to the next level. So you attend these meetings, and then you just talk to people, just hang out, just talk. Before you know it, you'll be talking about so-and-so's got money, so-and-so wants to lend money, so-and-so wants to sell a property. That's how you know this thing, because you have to be involved in it. I'm just giving you an example, like with the salsa world. Okay, I didn't know any of this salsa artists if I wasn't in it. They would not know of me either, that, you know, I'm pretty decent, that they would not know who I am if I was not in it. So same thing with the real estate. Tom knew about me because I'm in it. He knew about my deal because I talked about it. He wanted to help me because he heard me. So that's the same thing. You know, you have to be heard by your peers, then they'll know what you're all about. Now, if you're kind of like the quiet guy, you have to learn how to get out of that slowly. You know,
how do they learn? What do they need to do to get out of that?
Open up the mouth.
I'm a quiet guy, John.
Yeah, Tom's very quiet. This right here, we have this right here, the mouth. You have to use it. Just talk. Introduce yourself. Say, hey, I'm so-and-so. You know, I live over here, and you know, I would like to get started in real estate. That's it. And before you know it, you'll be surprised how welcoming most people are. They will come embrace you, and they're going to start talking to you. So what do you want to do? You know, actually, that was asked of me actually many times where we go. So what do you want to do? When I was first getting into it, of course, then we just start talking. You know, it doesn't have to be anything formal. You know, just talk. You know, talk, and before you know it, you'll be in it. And just keep attending those meetings. And if there's like 20 meetings in your area, try to go to all of them, because not everybody goes to all meetings, but then you'll meet other people. You have to network, because that's where the money's going to come from.
I like what you said there, because a lot of people think that when they're networking with somebody, in order to kind of engage in a conversation with them, they kind of have to like provide a piece of value up front, which, I mean, it does help. Like, it really does. But at the same time, like you said, I mean, just introduce yourself and tell them who you are. That's totally an icebreaker when it comes to talking to somebody, because, and it was funny, like, I keep mentioning Think Realty, but we were at Think Realty a couple weeks ago, and Tom was like a little quiet when we were in a conversation with a group of people. And so I texted him like, hey, are you okay? Are you tired? But his flight, like, it was like a 3 or 4 o'clock flight or something like that, wasn't it? Like, you got to wake up super early. So I texted him, yeah, 5 a.m. And so I texted him, I was like, hey, are you okay? Like, are you okay? Or are you just tired? And he said, I just like to listen. I just like to listen when it comes to meeting new people, and I'm tired, right? So those are the 2 reasons. But listening also is a big benefactor when it comes to networking, I think. And I have the problem every once in a while where I just talk to people, and so it's like, just yapping away. But
see, I barely even get a word in here. Yap.
Right, that's exactly right. I mean, that's how it works.
But listening is such a larger part of communication than actually speaking. Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of times you don't know how you can add value because you don't know their story. And listening isn't just listening, but actually feeling and hearing what they're saying in a way that you want to help them. And as soon as you can flip that switch to I need to be helped to how can I add value to you, people start coming back to you and wanting to add value back to you. It's going to happen. So that's exactly right. Whenever I'm with a new person, I really do try to be more cautious on, you know, God gave me 1 mouth and 2 ears, listen more than I speak. And I just think that you can learn a lot about people and really help a lot more people if you know what it is that they need help with.
That's a really good analogy. Yeah, I like that a lot. So, yeah, John, I totally agree with that. I think that's definitely like very useful when it comes to somebody that's an introvert naturally. Like, first of all, introduce yourself, but then listen. I think that's a good one.
And you can ask questions too. You don't just have to you don't have to say nothing, but you can ask questions, and the more questions you can ask, the more you can get to know, and you can lead those questions down the path to leading to yourself to the ways that you know that you can add value, or the knowledge or connections or whatever it is that you have. I mean, honestly, so I lend money out all the time, but the problem is I have too many lenders that want to loan me money. So sometimes I don't do this very often, but occasionally I'll bring in one of my lenders and they'll help me fund a deal for somebody else because I didn't necessarily have the money to do that deal. But it's basically like I'm getting to help both people at that point. So anyways, but you have to listen and know what people need or know what people want in order to be able to help them.
Yeah,
in those ways.
Totally agree. Awesome. All right, John. So we got a couple more questions here to wrap up the podcast here. So first of all, if you are on Facebook Live watching the live stream right now, we appreciate it. Make sure you're giving a big thumbs up, share this around, and then leave some comments below for us. And if you are coming by way of knowing John and you don't know who we are, then welcome to the Good Success Podcast. Thank you for joining, and we hope that we're bringing some value to you here. So, John, one of the big questions that I ask every single person that we interview is, what is one thing that you know now that you wish that you knew when you first started getting into real estate? So somebody brand new that is wanting to get into real estate comes to you and says, John, I want to know the one thing that you know now that you wish you knew when you got into real estate. What would that be?
For me, because of the way my market is, I probably would not have jumped into rehab my first go around. Because in my market, it's not very hot. Our good friend Max in Dallas, he told me this directly. He said, John, if my house stays on the market for 2 weeks, that's too long. That's a hot market, and that's in Dallas, Well, here in my market, that's not how it works. And I know because it's cash extensive, you have to deal with contractors, you have to deal with all the different elements, so many moving parts in doing a rehab, and it takes a long time to sell. You could wait 5, 6, 7, 8 months to get your money back. Well, that doesn't really work for me anymore. So if I knew that rehabbing wasn't my path early on, I could only imagine where I would be today, because me, I'm like a crazy Ferrari.
So John, what do you suggest then? Wholesaling, you said?
I suggest that if somebody wants to get started, understand what bird dogging is, and maybe just do that first, and just run around and help somebody get properties, that way, and then also do wholesaling. By those two things as a starter will help you get going to determine exactly which path that you would like to go later on. Because if you just jump right into rehabbing and you have no experience, you're going to regret it, unless you have somebody next to you that's really guiding you. Because it's not the easiest thing in the world. You know that because that's what you used to do. It's not that easy. You need some good experience with that. But you need to gain the experience first. So jump in, be a bird dog or be a wholesaler, learn all that stuff and educate, and also attend a lot of classes. You know me, this quarter, my wife says, are you ever going to work? I'm traveling around for classes, because I
come on, John, you need some more deals.
I know, man. Well, I'm working it. Believe me, I'm working it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. So last thing we have here, you got to leave the audience with one thing. So one thing that maybe maybe you just learned it recently, one thing that you leave the audience with, maybe it's a quote or something like that. What do you got?
Okay, for me, I would like to leave the audience with this. Just keep moving forward. That I say that to myself all the time. No matter what happens, you're going to run into obstacles. Those obstacles are just for you to figure out, okay, how am I going to get around this? So go around it, go jump over it, go underneath it, but you just can't stop. You might pause a little bit. That's okay, just to figure things out and then move forward again. So no matter what, keep moving forward, and you'll be surprised how strong you really are, and you'll be surprised how successful you will be.
So you said that, like in the last question, you said that you wish you didn't go right into fix and flip. So I think you might have said it, but was that deal just not a good deal? Like, was it did you lose money on it, or what happened with it?
Oh no, the money's actually in the property, and then there's some value. I just wasn't able to sell it right away. Right now it's actually part of my inventory for my owner finance deal.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So
yeah,
it wasn't necessarily a failure. Like, it wasn't an obstacle that you hit when it came down to it. So
yeah, but I think you said just keep going. I want to just touch on that just a little bit more before we end here. But so our pastor that I had growing up used to have a story. He's like, if I was in New York City and I wanted to get to California, I would make sure that my car moved every single day. Let's just say I broke down in the middle of nowhere. He's like, I would get out and I would push my car, 10 feet that day. So I got a little bit closer to my goal. But I think what's very important about that whole story is that you have to know where you're going first. You have to know what it is that you want. What is your goal? And I think what I find in entrepreneurship, and most people that I talk to that aren't moving, they're not doing that, what you just said, they don't continue to move. They don't really have their goals clearly laid out. They don't know where they're really going. So they're kind of lost. So I think that's the first thing. You have to know what. You have to figure out what the what is. So I know we talk about our why, and I think it's great to have a why, but in order to actually take action, in order to be successful, in order to have good successes, you have to know what it is that you're trying to achieve or where you're trying to go. So going from California or going from New York City to California is the destination. That's where they're trying to get to. But the how is kind of where we get caught up, right? So you talked about, your goal might be financial freedom or whatever the case is. You started fix and flip. Well, you're just going to keep moving forward to get to your goal, which is financial freedom. It's not necessarily that you wanted to be a fix and flipper, right? I mean, that's not the goal. That's the way, that's the tool that you're using today in order to reach that goal. So I just think it's very important. Figure out what it is that you want. Well, first of all, figure out why you want it, and then figure out how you're going to get it. Create that plan, and like John just said, every single day you should be moving a step closer to that goal. It doesn't matter what it is. You don't have to reach it all at once. And to me, if you look at my profile, and I've been made fun of this a little bit. If you look at my profile, I have zero patience naturally. I am not a naturally patient. Zero. Literally. I've had a profile testing done with a consultant, and they're like, naturally you are. He's like, I've never seen anybody. Zero patience naturally. So every time I exude patience to anybody or have grace, it's all grace. It's all
it's all grace.
I am I'm not naturally. That's not me. So in my natural state, I am I want everything now. Right now, I want it. But every single day, I know that if I keep moving a step closer, eventually it will come. And won't come as quick as I always want it to come, but you can get there if you just continue to believe it, keep those goals in front of you, and take a step further every single day. So don't stop and just keep moving. I appreciate that, John. That was but keep going.
Remember that one thing. Remember, Rome was never built in one day, right?
Yep.
So just keep that in mind. If you want to have Rome, it's one day at a time.
I like that a lot, John. I know that you always do quotes on your profile.
I love it.
You need to put that down. Put that down and tag us. Heard on the podcast.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, that's the one just came out. It just came out.
It's natural for you. It's a thought that you have, and you just kind of craft it into a nice sounding quote. So that's good. Awesome. Well, appreciate it, John. Thanks for being on the live stream today. Thanks for being on the podcast, episode 102. And we appreciate you being on. We're definitely going to have you back soon and talk to you a little bit more about some of what you're doing. Maybe it's in another few months or so, and hopefully you are moving that car down to California, not literally, but metaphorically to California.
Yeah, so. It might be zigzag, but I'm going to get there.
You got to go around obstacles, right?
Yeah, around, above, below.
You'll be doing the jig.
And I'll be dancing.
Awesome. So that's going to do it for today's episode, guys. Thank you so much for listening in. If you are watching the Facebook live stream, thank you for making it all the way through with us. And we hope that you guys got some value. John is absolutely amazing in what he does, and we love him to death. He's going to be at the Community Go Giver event. Make sure you guys sign up. We're going to have that linked below, communitygogiver.com. Sign up right away because we are running out of tickets. We are selling out at 80 seats, and we're already getting on our way there. So make sure you do that. The mastermind for May is coming up in another couple of weeks, so make sure you check that out too, goodsuccess.com/mastermind. You do have to fill out an application there, but we would love to connect with you and see what you guys can offer us to come to the mastermind and meet you there. So make sure you do that. John, we appreciate you being on, and we look forward to having you back, buddy.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, guys. I'll see you guys soon. Woo-hoo.
Yeah,
hey,
absolutely. Yeah, a couple of weeks, man. So if you guys are not already, make sure you are subscribed to the Good Success Podcast. We're going to have it all linked below, SoundCloud, Stitcher, iTunes, and Google Play. And make sure you give this video a big thumbs up, share it around. Thank you guys for listening and watching, and we'll catch you on the next one. And remember, whether you're looking to survive, thrive, or matter, our goal is to provide the tools to reach your vision.